Hey boys, welcome back to some more Nrl Supercoach 2023 season, and in this video it's going to be a bit of a different video. I actually want to have a closer look at the front rowers and sort of their starts to the year compared to their middle and later stage of the year, because I don't know, this might not reflect it, but I do have like I don't know, just an anecdotal feeling that a lot of the front rowers, just in general, you know, minutes are probably a little bit down, and point scoring is obviously in turn a little bit down to start the year, to do with, you know, match fitness and also weather. You know, especially if it's playing more north, it's still fucking hot in Queensland, but it's sort of a look at, for me as well, because I'm tossing and turning whether to start Tapine at 700k as that one premium front rower, or do I go with two value front rowers. And this will give a good insight. It won't, you know, I feel like it could be all over the shop with the points and the minutes, but I just want to look at some of the top. Maybe we'll look at the top 10 price front rowers. We got a list here. Maybe not. We won't look at Jack DeBellin. I'm actually surprised James Fisher-Harris. I'm keen to see how he scored, because I felt like Fisher-Harris was killing it to start the year or middle of the year, and then I think he obviously backed off a bit at the end, because that was the point. Like, a lot of these front rowers coming in, their price is pretty high, and it's like, is there even any value or any worth to starting guys like this from the get-go, because the point differential from like a 700 Tapine to a Christian Welch sitting at like 480, or even a Manu at just over 300, or, you know, any of these other guys that could get, you know, they get like 40-50 points. So I'm keen to see how it reflects to start the year. So we'll go down the list here. I've already got Tino up, the first cab off the rank here. So let's have a look at how his minutes and points sort of went. And straight away, literally with Tino, straight away, this myth has sort of been busted with Tino. As you can see, he straight off the bat here, he was up over 60 minutes. He actually had a lull, because I was thinking probably around that round 6 to 10 they would hit probably their peak, and then they would drop off. But no, Tino came out all guns blazing. He started it's funny, because I actually remember this last year, because Tino, I think he was fairly popular, I think, at his price. Yeah, he started a bit under 500k, which is a pretty good price for him. And he started with big minutes. Did I start with him? I don't think I did. I think I was tempted. But yeah, he played 60 minutes and he played 60 plus in the first 3. And yeah, only 57.48. The PPM wasn't quite there. He was definitely playing front row to start as well, which probably affected it slightly. And then he got a big one against the Raiders. And then the minutes dropped. The point scoring dropped. And then he sort of hovered, yeah, around that 60 minutes up until the Origin period, where he was rested, obviously, for a few games. And then, yeah, just sort of finished well. 68 minutes, 80 minutes, 69 minutes. Just went huge. But yeah, Tino has completely thrown that out. I'm actually, well, the more I think about it, I do remember Tino did start the year, not like, it's weird, because he actually, his form probably wasn't the best to start the year, playing in the front row, like playing a lock. Actually, no, sorry, I've got that completely backwards. People probably write in the comments I've got it mixed around, but no, he's playing lock. He was playing a lock to start the year, but he looked better when he went to prop, which it might not seem like a big difference, but it did definitely make a big difference to the way he played. I think playing at lock, he just runs. Like, he's not as focused on passing the footy, which a lot of locks have to do. So from it here, starting with Tino is definitely not a bad option because, I mean, he's the leader of the pack at the Titans. Minutes, obviously, he wasn't eased into it at all. In fact, he started out big minutes, and yeah, the only dip was for whatever reason around this period for round 4, 5, 6. He dipped to still over 50 minutes, but less than what he was. I don't know what happened there because he was still up around 60, 70 for the rest of it. And then obviously during Origin he was rested. But yeah, so that player, nope, that no correlation. No correlation. We'll look at Joe Tapine. So Tapine was sort of the guy I was thinking of the most here when I was thinking about this. Where the hell? No, fuck off. Tapine. Bro, what is happening? Why doesn't this work? Where the hell? Where the hell is he? You know what? I'm gonna just click on it again. Type in fucking TAP. Bro, why is this not working now? Oh my word! Where the hell? We'll just look at him then. Where the hell is he? Tapine. There. God. It was way easier when I looked up Tino for whatever reason. But okay, let's look at Tapine here. Has it gone back to 2023? You motherfucker. Oh my god. You motherfucker. Why the hell? Oh my fucking god. You. Oh my word, dude. Okay. Where the fuck is he? Joseph, where are you? I just saw you there. Okay. Oh my word. Why did... This was meant to be a lot simpler than this. Okay, looking at Joe Tapine here. And yeah, Tapine. And this one's an interesting one as well because Tapine, I don't think it was necessarily because of like fitness or anything like that. It was just the fact that Ricky Stewart was being very weird about it and not playing Tapine big minutes. But yeah, as you can see, round 1 to 4, I mean, round 2 he only played 38 minutes for whatever reason. But around 40 plus. Then he started to, well, he had a couple of games in between, but still middle of the year he was banging out 40 to 50, and then here, like round 11, 61, 65, 60, 61, 58, 70, and then this was sort of when I think he had that rib injury, or around this time, and then his minutes dipped. So, and I mean, this is the big reason why I think Tapine is such a good pickup, because I was looking at the wrong goddamn thing, dude. Oh my god. Okay, so next guy on the list is Joe Tapine. The guy that I was probably more focused on with this sort of breakdown. And it's an interesting one because it wasn't so much that I thought that his minutes were lower because of fitness or anything. It was just the fact that Ricky Stewart just was a bit, I don't know, he just didn't want to play in big minutes for whatever reason. So but I wanted to compare it to a lot of the other gun front rowers to see how their sort of baseline stacked up. But if we look at Tapine to start, yeah, round 1 to 4 only banging out 40 minutes, and then he had a couple of big ones in between here around that 60, and then yeah, back to mid 40s, couple of 50 in there, and then yeah, around 11 is where he started to get a bit more consistent. 62, 54, 58, 54, 45, 67, high 50s, and then yeah, right here is where he had that rib injury, I think it was, where he only played 32
minutes. But yeah, Tapine is a pretty good example, but also he's one that I don't know if it was because it wasn't fitness, but maybe just Ricky does like to ease Joe and his other forward. They did have a lot of mid forwards. They have lost a couple, so maybe Tapine does start out bigger minutes than typical. But it'll be interesting to see the other guys as well. But I mean, this is the other reason why I was so keen on Tapine at 700k, which is still a lot, but he suffered this injury, obviously got 26 points, and then annoyingly he got that 75 points a couple of weeks later, but only 51 and 59, which is still good, but he would have dropped a bit. Like, he would have, like, look at the points. Like, he was going ballistic. 63, 73, 78, 95, 82, 94, 74, 73, 113, and then a 75 included, but these 3 out of the 4 last dipped his price a bit. Not that much, I guess. If we look at the he only got to a peak of almost 700k, and he dropped a bit, actually. He dropped a bit. So that's one of the big reasons why I am keen. He dropped 100k from where he could have been, and obviously with the inflation of the salary cap, he's back up to almost 700k to start this year. But you just got to keep that in mind, that all the players are overpriced, I guess, to start the year from what they were. But that's why it is very tempting, because he had that injury. He tapered off at the back end, but you could just see with the minutes, when he was getting, getting like high 50s. He didn't really need to play more than 60 minutes, but occasionally he did. And the Raiders forward pack is still, Papali'i is going to get fewer and fewer minutes. They lost Ryan Sutton. Their forward pack is looking a little weaker. Adam Elliott's also gone. So, yeah, Tapine, I'm still keen, but this is what I wanted to look at to see who else. So Dave Klemmer, next highest price here. Let's have a look at Clem, because I feel like Klemmer, dude, bro, this doesn't work. It literally worked perfectly. The first time I did it. I'm typing DAVID. Bro, this, oh my. Well, I guess it does. You got to do the okay, it came up there. Whatever, dude. This I'm losing my mind. So David Klemmer here. We've got, so Klemmer's not a great example either, because he got injured for like 4 or 5 weeks here. But let's have a look at how Klemmer went throughout the year, shall we? Because actually it looks like he sort of encapsulates what I was sort of talking about. Because round 1, 47 minutes, missed a big chunk here. I guess, it's a bit hard to tell, because obviously if he's coming back from injury, minutes might have been down anyway, but I can't remember if he got injured in the game and he went off early. He probably did, but I can't remember. 47 when he came back from injury, 50 minutes, 49 minutes, and then, round 8 of the season, he was banging out 60 plus. He obviously had a 52-minute game in here, but yeah, the rest of the season he was averaging around that 60 minutes, and just, very, very, very solid base for Klemmer. I mean, Klemmer actually looked pretty good for the Tigers in the trial. I don't know what his stats were, but it looked like he was getting really involved. I've never been a fan of Klemmer in Supercoach. Like, he's always been pretty solid. He's always been one of the top front row forwards, but I don't know. He's just not an exciting player to watch, if I'm being honest. So, but yeah, not a great example, because I can't. it does look nice for the way I was talking how at the start of the season lower minutes, and then when they work into the season higher minutes. But he got injured, and then he had a big layoff here, so he would have come back a little bit underdone. He obviously scored hard, and he must have scored a try in this game as well. He got 94 points, and then back to 48 in the next game. So yeah, it sort of maybe makes sense, maybe not. Payne Haas. Let's have a look at Haas, shall we? See if he. I feel like Haas is not going to work well either, because he yeah, he comes out of the blocks firing, doesn't he? Playing 71 minutes, 60 minutes, 58, 72, 70, and then funnily enough for him, his minutes started going off because he had a couple of niggling injuries just sporadically. So yeah, I think Payne Haas also isn't a great example of what I was talking about. So yeah, I mean, this was, I wanted to see. I was hoping that it would be like a good little curve to show, because then I would have been like, you know what, yeah, go like 2 cheap front row forwards, because even the top line guys are going to start out a bit slower and work their way into the season. But so far it hasn't quite looked like that. We'll look at Joe Offa. Tohu was out for the start of the season, so he's not a good one to look at either. Oh man, I feel, well, Joe might actually, somewhat. So he started 54 minutes, 57 minutes, but then yeah, pretty much straight up into the 60s and even the 70 minutes for Joe Offa. So he would, maybe you could say he's slightly like he was slightly eased into it. He was like, man, he started out at 400k. He would have been a nice pickup. I never picked him up last year, but he was safe as houses to bang out like 60 plus. He was really good. With some decent attacking stats to his name as well. So yeah, Joe Offa was pretty solid, all things considered. Okay, I'll look at Tohu's, but he was out for like the start. Yeah, yeah, not a good example. But honestly, Tohu I think has been a bit under the radar to start. I don't think he's owned by many, but let's actually have a look at how he came back. So obviously he was eased into it, but then he was straight into big minutes. His points weren't great. He had a couple of decent scores, obviously 92 and then 96 back to back, 60, 66. Yeah, I don't know. Tohu, I don't know. Like, not a terrible. I think he'd be a decent pod to start the year, but I don't know. I think the old days of Tohu getting 70 easy are sort of gone. I think the Warriors have plenty of middle forwards regardless of that, so I wouldn't be going there. Ruben Cotter, I think I'm going to be honest, I think Cotter's not a good example either. I feel like Cotter absolutely killed it to start the year. And then yeah, he was out injured for, well, sort of middle to back end, but he did get eased in a little bit. Not a terrible example. So if you're thinking about going Cotter, again, he was out for the first 2 rounds, so he's back. I mean, he played 60 minutes in his first game back. 56, 49, 51, 56, and then he just, after round 7, he just went bang. 80 minutes, 75, 63, 57, a bit lower, but then 65. And then he had that hamstring injury, and then he was eased back pretty much for the rest of the year. And this is why, I gotta be honest, this is why I'm not keen on Cotter to start the year. I know I think he's a pretty heavily owned front row forward, but I gotta be honest, Todd Payne is not going to work Cotter. Like, I mean, Cotter, when he's on the field, he's going to be a menace. He's going to be tackling everything. He's going to be running like a madman. But, like, him and Taumalolo, I feel like are just going to be interchangeable. And as soon as the Cowboys, like, if they're winning, like, Payne is not going to overwork Cotter or Taumalolo, in my opinion, because it showed, like, Cotter, he is injury prone. So you don't want him missing big chunks of the year with a niggling injury if they can help it. Obviously, you can't stop an injury if it happens, but if the Cowboys are winning, you know, they got a pretty good start to the draw, which a lot of people are sort of like, the Cowboys have a really good start to the draw, you know, load up on Cowboys, but I wouldn't be thinking forwards in that case, because if they're winning games, like they got good young forwards on the bench that can ease the workload of these guys. So Cotter to start the year, I wouldn't be that keen, if I'm being honest, at 600k. If we go down the list, who else do I want to look at? Papali'i, I'm not. Honestly, I'm actually curious to see how Papali'i did score, because he, I mean, his minutes have definitely dropped just year on year, but let's actually have a look at how his minutes were affected, because yeah, he started out pretty well, actually, 56, but then he pretty much went down to averaging around 50, high 40s to 50, and that was pretty much it for the rest of the year. He probably actually tapered off a little bit more at the back end, but and even obviously around Origin time he was lower, but yeah, Papali'i just obviously, I mean, he's still one of the best front rowers in the game, but yeah, the minutes are obviously going to dwindle as time goes on, and that's why I'm keen on Tapine, dude. I want to start Tapine, but I did honestly. Doing this video, I wanted to just see most of the top line front rowers be like decent to start the year, and then around round 7, round 8, they just went bang with the minutes increasing and score. I sort of knew a few of those guys weren't going, like Payne Haas, for example, and Cotter, but because I just wanted to be like, I don't need to start with Tapine now, but it looks like I think I do think there is a base to be made to start, like, forwards. I think like front row forwards, they are generally going to be a bit more underdone at the very start of the year compared to the middle, but then Origin comes around anyway, so it stuffs up the minutes regardless. I can't believe Jack DeBellin was. I'm actually stunned DeBellin was higher priced than Fisher Harris. How did? Let's look at Fisher Harris, dude, because he is a guy that I thought was absolutely killing it to start the year. But maybe not. So. Yeah, okay. That's very surprising. I thought he was playing like big minutes most weeks, but yeah, he started out 57, 25, like he must have got injured there, had the week off, and then just like 50, averaging around probably about 50 minutes, and then he had a couple of games like 65 minutes here, 70 minutes there, and then 60 minutes against the Warriors. But yeah, I actually, I don't know, I guess the way he plays, like, it feels like he's out there for a long time, but because I mean, you can look here, his average 2019 66. I'm surprised his average was so high in 2019, if I'm being honest. 2020 59, 2021 62, and then 2022 he only averaged 54. So yeah, Fisher Harris is, I guess he's on the bit of decline as well in terms of Supercoach points. I'm trying to think. I mean, the Panthers obviously have lost a couple of big name players. So does his minutes? You can see it here. You can also see it here. So yeah, 2018, 58 minutes. 2019, he averaged 77 minutes. That's crazy. 58 minutes in 2020. Was he playing in the back row in 2019? I know he was like a back rower, but I feel like he was playing front row pretty much most of his career. 58, 53, 51. So it's just slowly, like, I feel like he's still going to get around 50 minutes, but I just, honestly, I'm surprised. I thought he would be up around that 60 minutes. Honestly, I am a little surprised he only averaged 51 minutes a game. So, yeah. Anyone else of note? Anyone else? Honestly, a guy that's sort of a few people are talking about now is Tatola. Let's have a look when his minutes go up, because the Rabbitohs obviously have quite a few forwards. Well, couple of middle forwards out injured to start the year. So Tevita Tatola, he's never been a Supercoach gun. He's always done a decent job, but yeah, as you can see, average around 40, 45. But how does he go when he plays bigger minutes? So yeah, to start the year, I mean, he's actually a better he's sort of a better case for easing into the season a little bit more. So 42 minutes, 47, 36, 42, 37. Then he started getting a few more, 50, 44, 44, 37. And then when he got 64 minutes, got 67 points. I mean, when he played 50 minutes, he got 56. Like, he's always had a pretty decent PPM around that one, pushing 1.1 on a few occasions. And then we go down here. He started going okay. 56 minutes, 71 points, 61 minutes, 102. Obviously, that was a try in there. He's had some decent scores, but I don't know. Would he average maybe 60 minutes this year with no Saleh and no Havili? I mean, I still think the Rabbitohs middle forwards are a little weak, but is Tatola the guy that's going to get more minutes there? Maybe. I don't know. For the price he's at, I still think that like a Christian Welch is just better value. Luke Thompson, actually, I'm keen to look at Luke Thompson. And anyone else? I mean, we can look at Saifidi, I guess, but I don't even know how many minutes they played. So, yeah, I guess I'm curious there. Luke Thompson, because he had a lot of time off, if we're being honest. Luke Thompson, how did he go? So yeah, he missed, pretty much round 13 onwards, he missed the back end of the year. But how did he go? So started out pretty well, 60 minutes, and then around that, mid 50, 68 minutes, 40, and then he had a couple of low ones. Pretty much, I don't know. Thompson, I have sort of gone off Thompson, if I'm being honest. I just feel like the Dogs have so many middle forwards. It is nice that it looks like he's going to play lock forward, which it does seem nicer, but it doesn't actually mean that he's going to play more minutes, because the lock forwards, like, especially Luke Thompson as a lock, he's pretty much just playing as a third prop. And, Pengai Jr. is probably going to be on the bench. Pele might be. There's a couple other boppers that are probably going to be on the bench as well. Tapine might get the spot there, and he'll spell Thompson potentially for more minutes. So I've sort of gone off Thompson a little bit. Let's have a look at Daniel and Jacob Saifidi, because honestly I don't really remember how many. So Daniel Saifidi here. Let's actually have a quick look at previous years as well. So average score. So Daniel, for a couple of years, he was 63 and 59. So for 2 years there, he was averaging 60 points, and then 2022 is where he fell off pretty badly. I mean, that's a pretty big drop off from 2020 and 2021. His average minutes. So 2020, he only averaged 48 minutes. 2021, he averaged 54. And then 2022, he still averaged 52. So, I don't know. I know a lot of people are keen on Saifidi. I don't know which one. I think both of them are pretty, people are pretty keen on both. I don't know. I'm not keen on really either of them. But, because if we look, I mean, he had obviously chunks missing with injury. But, yeah, he was getting around those 50 minutes. His points were just shit. I just don't like Saifidi's, because
there's two train of thoughts here, right? Like, obviously, they're try-scoring front rowers, yes, but they need a try to score any decent points. Like, if they don't score a try, they're trash. Like, look at the scores: 37 and 37 in 46 and 42 minutes. Like, so many times they're getting below 50 points a game while playing more than 50 minutes. That's really bad. And then, 62 minutes there, he got 62, which is pretty solid. And then 60 minutes, 76 points. I'd assume there was a try in there, or just some offloads. He got 17 in the try, right? Is that the try? Must be. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really have any interest in starting Jacob or Daniel. And then Jacob here. Ooh, okay. It must be surely it's Daniel that the people are excited about, because I mean, at least Daniel, he averaged 60 points basically for 2 years and then dropped off badly last year. Jacob, 51 in 2020. It's okay. 46 and then 42. And then his minutes have just been around that mid 40s. So yeah, I don't know. I don't have any interest in starting Saifidi. I mean, if you start one of them, yeah, they're good for 50 points, I guess, is the takeaway there. But if they don't score a try, and they're bound to score the odd try, which will make the average go up from the shitter. But yeah, I wouldn't be that keen. And then we will look at Welch. I'll look at his previous years as well, just to see sort of a baseline there. Anyone else that's sort of popping out? Not really. I think that'll wrap it up when we look at Welch. So yeah, a bit of a deeper dive into the forwards here, which hasn't really helped my train of thought so much. It sort of led me to probably wanting Joe Tapine a little bit more, but we'll see. So yeah, poor old Welch, man, he started pretty well too. He played 60 minutes in that first game, scored 49 points. Not the best PPM, but he is a guy with an offload in him and is pretty solid. And then looking at his previous years, it's just a nice steady increase. I mean, his is a beautiful increase, isn't it? 38 to 43 to 51 to 59, and then that would have gone up to 65 maybe. Potentially. Obviously that's not how it goes, but maybe, because if we look at the minutes, 34 to 43 to 52 to 61. I mean, that's such a beautiful graph. That's just lovely, isn't it? That's sensational. Christian Welch, I mean, he's very articulate in general, so it makes sense that his graph would look that perfect, wouldn't it? And unfortunately, though, 2022 stuffed the graph for the point scoring. But that's why I'm keen on Welch. He's the leader, and especially now he is the leader of that pack. You've got, you got big Solomona there who can do some damage. I'm actually, you know what? That's the other guy. I'm actually keen on Solomona as a pod. Where is he? Do I look at Utukmanu? Nah. We know Utukmanu a couple of years ago who was killing it when he got big minutes, so we know that. Is Solomona pretty expensive? Yeah, he's up over 500, isn't he? Yeah, 540, that's annoying. I think because he played a few games in the back row, but I gotta be honest, Solomona, like, again, with so many forwards leaving the club, like, I don't think Solomona is ever gonna be like a Supercoach gun by any means, but yeah, you can sort of see there, he's just, I'm actually surprised the minutes are that high, like, just around that, 53, 54, 53, 52. The average, though, that honestly, that is surprising to me. I guess he's... Yeah, I gotta be honest, that does surprise me quite a bit. The back end of the year is where he blew out his price because he was playing bigger minutes.
he played 50 and then 64, 70, 50, 54. But he was playing in the back row for a good chunk of those and scoring some tries. Obviously, a lot of negative stats. He's always got a fair few of those. But I'm honestly, I'm surprised with the average. The fact he's playing 50, a tick over 50 minutes, he's a guy that when you watch play, you're like, oh, his PPM would be off the charts because he's always got an offload, a tackle bust. But I guess it adds up, like the errors, the penalties. He doesn't, obviously, he's not going to make like 30 tackles a game like a lot of forwards. So, yeah, Solomona, I do think he'll step up. But, yeah, the fact he's coming in at that price, I would, if he was cheaper, I would have been very tempted for him as a bit of a pod in that Storm forward pack. Because I don't know, I feel like a year's changing for him, maybe, but if you look at the stats, they're pretty consistent. I mean, the points are up a little bit from previous years, but not a whole lot. So, yeah, that's that'll wrap up the little deeper dive into the front row forwards. It hasn't really panned out how I was hoping with sort of the curvature I was hoping for, and just starting two cheapies. So at the end of the day, I really want to start Joe Tapine, but if that means I have to forego, I don't know. It's a tricky one. But it'll come down to who else I can sort of put in, and if they're not going to cost me versus another position, that's obviously what we got to look at. But I'll fiddle with the team some more. There'll be more changes to come to that. But let me know in the comment section who you're sort of leaning towards in the front rows. Obviously, I didn't talk about any of the cheaper guys really. Let me know. Make sure to like and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.